Today we're talking with Dan Rivera of SEU Worship. SEU Worship is a collaboration between the faculty, staff, students, and alumni of Southeastern University in Lakeland, Florida. The university has quite a history of Christian music with artists like Brian Duncan, KJ52, and Seth Reddy, who've all attended. So Dan, how did SEU Worship get birthed?
SEU Worship was something that basically started in 2012, 2011, around there. And it was a commitment to just making music and writing songs with the students that we would then do in chapel services. So there's not much to it, but it just feels like there's been kind of like a special gifting on it and the creative space for students to bring their best and then partner, as you said, with faculty and staff to just make music that we could sing in chapels.
Is it a fairly open door as far as, you know, somebody's a student and they're a bit of a songwriter, they bring it to the worship group and it kind of goes through a system where it might be part of what they do?
Yeah, I think we try to operate as like any other sort of local ministry a student might come from, where as you start serving in the team and begin to kind of contribute your gifts there, then you get more opportunity to lead worship. And as you're leading worship, you know, you may get a chance to write with some of the more seasoned students or myself or some of the other worship pastors and artists. And those are where those opportunities happen organically. But then we also try to structure songwriting retreats where students can participate. And so sometimes those are smaller, sometimes they're bigger. It can have about like 60 or 70 people at the biggest ones we do. And so any of those places are where the songs happen. And yeah, but it's a lot of what you said. You just kind of bring your idea and then we see what happens from there.
Besides yourself, you're one of the songwriters and leaders. Who are some of the key members of SEU Worship?
So we're made up of four, we like to use the term core artists. It's myself, David Ryan Cook, Kenzie Walker, and Sydney Wilson.
Now you have an album that just released in May called 1,000 Generations. And because you sing that song both on the YouTube video, obviously, and on the CD, tell me a bit about 1,000 Generations as a song.
Yeah, so we wrote the song I started writing the song like 3 years prior to it kind of seeing the light of day. And basically, sorry, I'm gonna turn off my notifications here. So we wrote the song like 3 years before it started seeing the light of day. It started with this idea of I left a piece of my heart at the cross, and when I met Jesus and committed a piece of my personhood in my life and, you know, heart as an image of that to Jesus, the narrative of Jesus is that he dies, resurrects, and then goes to heaven. So following that narrative in my own devotional life and as I follow Christ, I left my heart with him at the cross, but now a piece of it's like up in heaven. So it's kind of, in theology, we call it the already and not yet, right? Like we live in this space of I'm both here present, but I also have a piece of my spirit and soul that anticipates the coming kingdom of God. Mm-hmm. And I join in the thousands of generations of people who are anticipating the coming kingdom of God. So that's kind of like some of the genesis and origin of how the song got started and came about. And then it sat in a Dropbox folder for like years and everyone sort of forgot about it. And in pre-production for the album, Kenzie actually brought it up as like, hey, whatever happened to this idea? And it felt like it was one of those moments where it needed to come together at the right time in order to have the right amount of impact. And so when we did it in chapel for the first time, back when we were still meeting in spaces, when we did it in chapel for the first time, it really seemed to resonate with the students. And now it ended up kind of sneaking into becoming the title track. And that's sort of the short version of the story.
On the CD, there's a lot of songs that are getting a lot of attention, whether it's on YouTube, online, like In Rhythm, Fire in My Bones, Freedom All Around. I know it's hard to choose, but is there one other song that sort of still moves you every time the team gets to perform it?
Yeah, that is tough. You're asking me to pick my favorite child, basically.
That's very, very hard to do. Yeah.
I'll say this. I'm going to hack your question and answer with two songs.
Okay.
But there is a song called "Where I Belong" that's very special because it was almost 100% written by students, and I sing that song with another one of our students named Chelsea, and they wrote the song because they felt like God was impressing on them to write a song that spoke to students' anxiety as they were returning back for classes in the fall of, this was 2019 when the song was written. And so the chorus of it is, Lord, I'm laying down all these fears that you're not afraid of, because I know that you've overcome it all. And every time I hear the story, I'm brought back to the first time we led it and sang it, and it's really special. But then the second song is Glory Come Down, which is a song that Kenzie and Dave wrote that is really cool to me. And then there's this really special moment that happened when we recorded it, where as we finished the song, we were kind of vamping and transitioning a part of the worship night, and the room just sort of exploded in worship. So we have this spontaneous tag that's attached to the song too. It's an additional track. And I think all in all together, it's that song has a special. So both those songs, Where I Belong and Glory Come Down.
Well, wonderful. Okay, I have one final question. Because you are partway between Orlando and Tampa, favorite amusement park? Disney World, Busch Gardens, Universal Studios?
Yeah, wow. Great question. So we in different parts of our lives, we've had, because they do like Florida resident, discounts and deals. So we've had like annual passes at all three of those places. And there's no place like the happiest place on planet Earth, Disney World. It's so great. We do miss it. It's awesome. We now have our son's about to be 5 months. So we really anticipate him getting a little bit older, or even now, we'll take him as soon as it opens up. We're happy to go back there and start bringing him around. And, but they're all fun, Universal Studios used to have my favorite ride ever. This attraction called Jaws, which was this really dorky.
Yeah, the shark come right out of the water, yeah.
And it was like a scripted ride, and I just love that ride. So they closed it. I feel like they went down a couple points when they closed that. So
All
we
right.
love Disney World.
We'll get a petition going to reintroduce the Jaws ride at Universal. Yeah. Dan, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Yes.
The album is called 1,000 Generations from SEU Worship, and we really appreciate you taking the time to tell us a bit about the ministry and the CD today.
Thank you.